This world's equivalent of the Master Emerald is known as the Giga Ruby, a gem so powerful that it can lift a whole island and make it float into the sky. It's located within a place called Heaven's Land, the stand-in for Angel Island, which is protected by a mighty warrior. That warrior is known as Fis, a porcupine that came from a lineage of tribesmen that vowed to protect the Giga Ruby. Their strength, including Fis, came from the gem, who gave their guardians an incredible amount of power. Fis always stood near the Giga Ruby, always watching it carefully. That was his one true purpose. Staying guard wasn't easy, however, since it required being alert at all times, and a lot of patience. One of the things he was taught by his ancestors was to expect the unexpected, which meant any kind of threat could harm him or the gem. Rain started to pour down the island. Fizz sensed an uneasy presence approaching the gem at lethal speeds. He already knew who could possibly go super fast and be interested in the Giga Ruby. The presence was definitely no stranger to him at this point. Hug. Fist puts up his hands and prepares himself for a fight. Unbeknownst to him, it would be his last. Sonic arrived, determined to get his hands on the Giga Ruby. He had swore to himself that he was going to get it. He'd look up at Fist, who was standing in the stairway leading to the altar. What brings you here, Dust Devil? Looking for trouble? Sonic ignored Fist's questions, instead focusing on the gem sitting behind the porcupine. Oh, I see. Very well then. Fist would make the first strike, smashing Sonic and knocking him off the stairs onto the ground, face down with a broken tooth. First come, first serve. I'm glad you see it my way. Gives me more of a reason to pummel you back to where you came from. Cracking his knuckles in preparation, he declared, "Show me what you're truly made of." He gestures at him to come closer. Sonic would get up and wipes the blood dripping from his mouth, charting up a spin bash and launching at Fist. Fist went to catch Sonic and pummel him to the ground. They would fight for hours, with seemingly no sign of stopping. A visibly exhausted Fist manages to tackle Sonic and begins punching him incessantly. "You're weak. Pathetic. Come on. Fight. Fight back. Fight back. Now!" Sonic finally manages to punch Fist away, pulling out a blaster, stolen from the corpse of Prowler, and fires. Sonic limps closer to Fist, looking down at him. "I think your gun malfunctioned. Still want a piece of me?" "Well, I ain't done yet. Not by a long shot." Looking up at Sonic, Fist would declare, "I don't want a piece of you, though. I want the whole thing!" Fist throws a punch and hits Sonic. Upon impact, he felt the pain passing through his hand. The gun drained all the power energy within him from the ruby, severely crippling him. "What did you do to me?" You ain't acting like yourself." "I took the liberty to relieve you of what wasn't yours in the first place." Sonic would then walk up to the Giga Ruby and touch it. "Bring my friends back, please." The Ruby would answer his question, his body glowing for a split second, and multiple figures would suddenly appear. Tails, Robotnik, and Knuckles were brought back to life, but they all looked decayed, withered and torn, as if they were undead. What the? The undead would suddenly stumble to reach Fist by any means necessary. "Stay back, you freaks! Back off!" Fist attempts to fight back with no avail. Fist would then get pinned down. Each of the undead would restrain him, digging their teeth and clawing their hands into his skin. Fist continues to struggle amidst the crowding, rotting corpses as they savagely eat his flesh. His screams effectively just start turning into wailing. Torment felt within him would overwhelm him to such an extent that words could not be uttered. Pain was the only feeling that could be expressed. His agonizing screeches began to accompany the bloody gurgling. With the last possible ounce of strength, he tried to crawl away, his life hanging on by a thread. After a few seconds passed, The porcupine finally succumbs to the pain and lays motionless. Sonic was glad that Fist had been dealt with in the most brutal way possible. It was almost as if he enjoyed watching the event unfold in front of him. As soon as the warrior collapsed to the ground, the undead entities would just stand there. Sonic would then glance at the Gigaroot once more. This has to work this time. Please work. Sonic began climbing up the ruby. Finally reaching the top of it, Sonic laid his hand down on it and slowly harnessed its power. As a result, his body started to float and glow. He could feel the familiar power rushing through him. The light emanating from the transformation was so strong that it pierced the sky like a blade. He started to change. His fur and skin would turn a vibrant gold, the blood and scars washing away from his body. His quills would then point upwards. It felt very reminiscent of the good old days. He missed using this power to save his friends from trouble. However, something was wrong. His body began to expand and contract in unnatural ways. The pressure was so great that his arms and legs were ripping apart, tearing at his flesh in such a way that the muscles were clearly exposed. His snout stretched, the skin around his jaw rotted away. Most of his bones at this point were broken or completely replaced by muscle. His body would then also be set ablaze. After the painful event was over, Sonic would land at the ground. He opened his eyes and stood up, realizing that he was much taller than before. But this wasn't the outcome he had hoped for. His body now reflected what he had become, a nightmarish amalgamation consisting of his own body and the Tenrec he was possessing. An atrocious mistake.